Welcome to Save Thousands on Your Wedding in 3 Easy Steps. I'm Victoria Lewis, and I'm going to be your host and guide as I teach you how to save time, money, and stress.
Input and stuff. So I ended up staying in business. I've owned my own business 27 years. I've done over 2,000 weddings. We've done every kind of event you can think of, and we still do. We do quinceañeras and corporate events and nonprofit fundraisers, everything you can think of. And we've done really nice big weddings. I know anybody that thinks, oh, it'd be so fun to be a wedding planner, and they always want to do the big budget weddings, and we've done those. But honestly, my passion is what we call the budget bride. Everybody has a budget, I think. We've met a couple that didn't. But everybody has a budget, and everybody kind of says the same thing. I think everybody wants the most for their money, and you want really more than you can afford. Everybody wants that, and they hope for it. And I think in the back of their minds, they think, well, if I do some of it myself, I can have it better, right? So it's always our passion to help the bride do that. So I'll tell you a little bit about our service. Our service is, I call it full service. We do anything you need to help you get your dream wedding. So in our full service packages, you get unlimited meetings, unlimited text, phone calls, but some of the things that are most important is we do things like venue matches. So if you're looking for a venue, then you might not even know this. There's over 300 venues here in Fresno, and you can find about 4 or 5 online, and we'll go over that in a little bit, why that is. But there's a ton of venues here, and one of the assets is I've been to them all. I know who the owners are, I know their packages, I know the pricing. We also know how they work, and if they're dishonest with what they're telling you, we'll go over that in a little bit. So when you come into the office, as far as a venue match, I find out, like I was talking to you guys earlier, and it's just habit too. What kind of venue are you looking for? Do you want outdoor, indoor? Do you want catering? Do you have special, some people need to bring in outside food, and sometimes tables and chairs aren't included, sometimes they are, sometimes they have restrooms, sometimes they have porta potties, sometimes you have to bring in your own, sometimes you have to have security, and some people aren't easy to work with, some are, and so we know all that, so we try to match you with the best venue. And also we do the same with a vendor. So if you're looking for a photographer, caterer, whoever, typically an event planner gets a commission for recommending somebody, which I guess makes sense, and that's just industry standard. So if I were to recommend a photographer, normally I would get a commission. It's kind of a secret, so people don't really want you to know that. We have a policy against commissions. We don't take commissions. Instead, we ask that they turn that around to a discount for you. So now maybe where you could have only afforded maybe a $1,500 photographer, now you can afford a $2,500 photographer, or the same with cake and the same with invitations, whatever it is. So we maximize your budget. Another way that we do that is we have more buying power. I can give somebody 50 or 100 weddings a year. You're going to give them one time in your life. So I can negotiate a little bit better. I know what you guys need, I know what services they provide, so I can always say, hey, do you think you could just throw that in, you know, and I know it doesn't cost them anything, and they want to keep my business, so they're more apt to do it. We also, in our full service, we're the first ones to arrive on your wedding day, and we're the last ones to leave. We take full responsibility for the event. So when we get there, typically my husband goes around and he checks the grounds, takes pictures of things, making sure that if something's broken, we have a picture of that, he emails it so that we have that timestamp when that happens so you don't get charged for it. And then we do the same thing when we leave, because there are venues that are dishonest. They want to keep your $500 or $1,000 security deposit, and they're going to say that you broke something or your guest broke something, and you didn't. And so anyway, we feel like we're there to protect you through the whole process. We never take over your wedding. We don't make decisions for you. We just provide you with the information that you need to make the decision that's best for you. You want to work with other vendors, you want to work with different venues, then we recommend, that's fine, we'll work with whoever you want. But we're still going to take that proactive approach and go meet with them, talk to them, kind of without you, to get all the inside information and then come back and report to you what we found. So we've been doing this, like I said, 27 years, 2,000 weddings, we've been doing it a lot. But you guys are here because you think you want to plan your own wedding. We have been doing seminars for gosh, I don't know, 15 years. We do over 30 a year. This is the first time we've done this specific seminar. I tailored this one. We do them every month here at Smith Camp, and we do them all over. We changed this one a little bit because we find most people leave seminars that we do overwhelmed, and still we want you to have all this information, and sometimes maybe I give you too much. So that's why we did it in 3 easy steps. You're welcome to stay after, and I'm going to answer whatever questions I can. If you want to make an appointment to come in for a free consultation afterwards, Molly will take your appointment. Just see her in the back. So anyway, are you guys ready to get started? Hopefully you guys will save a ton of money by the end of the semester wedding. No problem. The average number of guests in Fresno, they say, is 131 to 141. Our average client is about 150, really 200, 250. We don't, this would be a small wedding, really, for us. The average couple nationwide goes over budget 27%. Whatever your budget is, I want to ask you, how many people think, oh, I could go over 27%, that's no big deal. Right. Everybody goes over budget, unless you're our client. Our clients only go over budget if they know that, they do it by choice, because we help them manage their budget. So if they come in with this crazy idea from Pinterest, and I say, well, you can do that, but if you do it and you want to stay in budget, we have to cut back somewhere else. So anyway, so I'll be honest with you, most people are thinking, I'm not gonna. Most brides in the beginning are like, I think I'm pretty good, I won't go over budget. Nobody plans to go over budget. It just happens, and we're going to talk about how it happens. So whatever your budget is, imagine that number, let's just say it's $10,000 for easy math. That means you'll go over budget $2,700. If you follow my advice tonight, you won't go over budget, and you will save at least that $2,700. So at least you won't be stressed. You'll have a nice wedding and stay in budget. Okay, so I want to ask, how do you plan to save money on your wedding? Everybody kind of has an idea in their mind, whether it's realistic or not. They're thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to do to hopefully save money on my wedding. Most people think I'm going to shop smart. Oh, most couples, I already went over that, think that they're pretty smart and they can save money on their own. So you're going to shop smart, you're not going to overspend, you won't get scammed. Has anybody ever even considered the fact that you might get scammed? Yeah. Most people don't even think about it. It doesn't even occur to them. And I'll tell you, one of the main reasons that I like being a wedding planner is because we look for that. And I would say every wedding who has come to us that already has some vendors already chosen, every single time we save them at least $1,000 because somebody was scamming them and they didn't even know it. We might not share that with you because I don't want you to know your photographer's ripping you off, but we might just fix it on the back end. And then a lot of people think, I'm going to do a lot of DIY projects. That's how you think you're going to save money. So most people say, I'm pretty good with Google search and finding a good deal. Most people think they're going to plan their wedding with a Google search. So here's a potential problem. Can you trust the internet? And you've heard the saying, they can't put anything on the internet if it isn't true, right? So I'll tell you one little story. My husband and I met with a potential photographer, maybe it was 2 years ago, and he brought in his portfolio and his packages, and he's all excited about maybe working with a wedding planner. And what was so interesting is he said he had just moved there from the coast, and he pulled up, and he said, I've done a few weddings here, so he pulled up some of his portfolio. One of them was a wedding that we did, and we had never met him. So he stole this photographer that we knew, their pictures off a line. I don't know how many other pictures they stole. But here he's trying to pass that off. And so, of course, I have a sixth sense of humor. So then I was asking him, oh, tell me about this couple. Tell me about the wedding. So he's going off on this elaborate story, made up names for him and everything. And I don't think we let him off the hook right then. I think we let him sweat it out for a little while. He kept saying, kept emailing us and stuff, so then we did tell him. But anyway, so how would you know if that happened to you? I know you guys are thinking, I'm gonna try to find a cheap photographer, and I'm gonna look on Craigslist and do Facebook and whatever. So you don't know if somebody's gonna rip you off, unless it's a really well-known, established company that has a brick and mortar building, which a lot of people in the wedding industry don't have that. So we're gonna have a serious talk. To successfully plan your own wedding, tonight you guys have to put your pride aside, have an open mind, and forget everything that you read on the internet. So everything, and I have brides that come in all the time and they're like, well, I know that I'm supposed to do blah, blah, blah. I know that this, and they'll state what they think is a fact or something. Typically they're wrong, but they read it and it sounded good. So then I just walk them through the rest of the process, kind of share with them why that's not maybe accurate. So you guys really have to, at this point, just wipe your mind clean and pretend, okay, I know nothing and I don't believe anything that I've read. So the number one thing that you guys need to do is consider investing a majority of your time researching, questioning, doubting, double-checking, and cross-referencing. When we encounter a new vendor, this is exactly what we do. So even if it's somebody that we've heard of, we recently, actually it was last year, we had a client come to us. They had most of their services done, but she was just all stressed out, you know, wanted help with the rest of the planning. And so it was a very well-known establishment, and they really wanted to start doing weddings. So our bride came in, and I was going over the information, the contract, and so I was asking her questions, going through the contract. This was a venue, and she said, oh, they're not going to charge me for that. Oh, they're not going to make me follow that policy. They said I don't have to do this. And the contract was like this thick, which is already a red flag to me, because that's unusual. So I'm going through everything, and so I just said, tell me your understanding in this section, tell me what you think this. So I'm taking notes, and then my husband and I went to meet with the venue without the bride. And so we're asking the facility manager, okay, so we just want to be familiar with your facility, and this is going to be the first time we've worked with you guys. So can you explain this to me? Can you explain this to me? And so I went over everything, and just about everything that the bride thought they weren't going to charge her for, she verified. And she said, oh yeah, that's true, we're not going to charge her for that, we won't do this, blah, blah, blah. So we did a tour of the facility, and she was pretty proud of it. We spent like 2 hours there, and then I went home and I shot her an email. Thanks so much for meeting with us and spending all the time showing us your facility. We're excited to do the wedding. And then I said, I just want to verify that I wrote down all the information right. So then I did bullet point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the next day I got an email. I'm sorry, according to section blah, 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 we're not able to facilitate that. Every single thing was a no. She thought she was going to pay about $1,000 or $1,500 for that event being held there. It was going to be over $4,500. But she wouldn't have known until 2 weeks before the wedding when the balance was due. So I know this sounds harsh, but she lied to my client. She lied to me. But when it was going to be in writing, she had to tell the truth, because then I'd go back and say, well, look at you said you weren't going to charge all this. And that happens all the time. So you're going to hear things from people, oh yeah, don't worry about that, we'll throw that in. Oh, don't worry about that. Always verify it. Okay, so if the average couple takes 400 to 600 hours to plan their wedding, which that's really average, that's kind of doing it kind of quick. So if the average couple spends 400 to 600 hours planning their wedding, and the average couple goes over budget 23 to 27%, this tells me they did not spend enough time researching the actual needs and costs. So you also have to calculate this 400 to 600 hours, which we'll go over in a little bit. How much time do you have to invest planning your wedding? You really have to know however much money your budget is. I don't care if it's $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, whatever that amount is. That's a lot of money, and you have to really take that amount of money seriously. And to take that money seriously, you have to invest that kind of time. So whatever amount that is, you have to think of that like either part-time or full-time job. So however much money you make a year at your job, how does that compare to your wedding budget? You have to invest at least that much time into planning your wedding, really, for it to come out.